Right now, you're walking into an executive interview or a salary review armed with a list of your accomplishments and a vague hope that the hiring manager will recognize your value. You believe your compensation will be decided through a conversational negotiation or a subjective assessment of your cultural fit. You're operating under a catastrophic, mathematically obsolete illusion. The world's biggest headhunters and the global corporations are using a secret algorithm to decide your exact financial worth before you even walk into a room. I have completely reverse engineered the Ferry scoring systems to show you exactly how to manipulate the hidden metric. Stop guessing what they want and start architecting a profile that mandates an absolute premium. What if you could see your career through the eyes of a cold, hard executive framework? We are decoding the proprietary metric using to gatekeep high salary roles in 2026 economy by quantifying your competencies against their rigid logic. You aren't just applying for a job, you are forcing the system to mathematically pay you. You are leaving a six figures on the table right now because you simply do not understand how your professional value is calculated by the machine. I'm revealing exactly how to exploit the Ferry Hay Guide chart to gain maximum salary leverage during your negotiation. It is time to stop playing their subjective game and start engineering an undeniable algorithmic data profile today. Before I completely deconstruct the black box of a corporate job evaluation, expose the exact mathematical formula used to calculate your salary band, and give you the precise architectural blueprint to artificially evaluate your Hay score, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor and capital market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these execution protocols. Stop begging for a 5% raise, learn the algorithm, manipulate the point, and dictate your leverage. Grab a notebook, you are going to hack. Welcome back, I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the salary negotiation, talent acquisition, and human capital is aggressively different from the emotional, superficial advice peddled by the legacy career coaches, you must understand my underlying structural logic. I hold a PhD in human resources, a master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TISS in Mumbai, and a bachelor's in computer engineering. I do not look at the job description as a list of duties, I look at it as a strict mathematical equation. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for Tier 1 corporate entities, sovereign wealth funds, and global banks, I have sat behind the curtain. I have deployed the exact tool used by the organizations like Ferry, the architects of the Hay Group methodology, to evaluate, score, and price human labor. Let us systematically deconstruct this highly lucrative exploit through 5 distinct phases. The Whistleblower Exposure, decoding the 3-pillar, the data-driven exploit, the financial leverage pivot, and the sovereign execution. Phase 1, the Whistleblower Exposure, the black box of valuation. We must first diagnose the exact invisible framework that controls your compensation. If you apply for a senior role at a Fortune 500 company, a massive logistic firm, or a sovereign entity in the UAE, the HR department does not pull your salary out of thin air. They do not look at your resume and guess your worth. They use a highly structured, proprietary job evaluation methodologies. The most globally dominant system is the Ferry Hay Guide chart profile method. The method was designed to strip away the human emotions and turn labor into a standardized math equation. It evaluates the role, not the person. By assigning a strict numerical point value to the job, if a job scores 400 points, it falls into a salary band A, example AED 40,000 dirhams a month. If it scores 600 points, it falls into a salary band B, example 70,000 dirhams a month. The catastrophic mistake that the average professional makes is trying to negotiate their salary after the role has already been scored. If the job is mathematically capped at 400 points, the HR manager literally does not have the systemic authority to pay you the salary of 600-point job, no matter how much they like you. To achieve a maximum leverage, you must reverse engineer the algorithm. You must structure your resume, your interview responses, and your daily corporate output to aggressively target the higher point threshold. You must force the organization to rescore the role to accommodate the massive structural architecture you are bringing to the table. You must stop acting like a candidate and start operating like an audit. Phase 2. Decoding the 3-pillar, the matrix. To manipulate the Korn Ferry system, you must understand its exact anatomy. The algorithm calculates your point score based on 3 rigid interconnected pillars: know-how, problem-solving, and accountability. 1. The know-how, the input. This is not just about the university degree. Know-how measures the total sum of the knowledge required to execute the role. It is divided into 3 subdimensions. Technical, specialized knowledge. Do you follow basic rules, or are you a globally recognized master of a complex discipline? Managerial depth. Do you manage a single homogeneous team, or do you architect the integration of a multiple conflicting cross-functional department? The human relation skills. This is critical. Do you use basic courtesy? Do you persuade and negotiate, or do you inspire behavioral changes in a hostile executive environment? 2. The problem solving, the process. This pillar measures the cognitive friction of the role. It is calculated as a percentage of your know-how. Thinking environment. Are your problems solved by looking at companies' manuals standardized, or are you operating in a completely unmapped, chaotic environment where no rule exists? Pathfinding. Thinking challenge. Are you dealing with repetitive issue, or are you architecting novel, unprecedented solutions to multi-variable global crisis? 3. Accountability, the output. This is a highly weighted pillar for executive compensation. This is where the fortunes are made. Freedom to act. Do you need to ask a vice president for permission to spend money, or do you possess the sovereign, unilateral authority to dictate corporate strategy? Magnitude. What is the exact size of the budget or the revenue stream you directly impact on the end result? Are your actions remotely advisory, or are they primary? You are exclusively control the success or the failure of the revenue. When you understand these 3 pillars, you realize that writing "I am a hard worker" on your resume is completely mathematically useless. You must feed the specific semantic triggers of know-how, problem solving, and accountability directly into the algorithm. Phase 3, the data-driven exploit, rewriting the algorithm. Let us execute a live data-driven exploit. We will take a standard professional achievement and rewrite it to force the Korn Ferry methodologies to assign it the maximum possible point value. Imagine you are an HR operations manager in Dubai. The amateur profile, the low hay score, managed the employee onboarding process using Talmundo and Oracle HCM, solving daily administrative issues and ensuring the team compliances. Let us code know-how, basic managerial, problem solving, standardized solving daily issues, accountability, constrained freedom to act, ensuring compliance. This role scores a level 13. You are logged into a mid-level salary band. The apex operator profile, high hay score exploit, architect the end-to-end integration of Talmundo into the global Oracle HCM cloud infrastructure. Operated in a pathfinding thinking environment to deploy Lean Six Sigma value stream mapping, unilaterally eradicating 30% of administrative latency, held primary accountability for the digital transformation of a multi-million dirham payroll structure, overcoming an hostile, cross-functional resistance to secure executive adoption. Let us audit the exploit. Know-how, architected end-to-end integration and overcoming hostile resistance, maxes out technical depth and highest level of human relations, inspiring behavioral changes. Problem solving. You explicitly use the trigger word pathfinding and demonstrated high-level analytical tool Lean Six Sigma. Accountability. Unilaterally eradicating proves absolute freedom to act. Primary accountability and the multi-million dirham payroll maxes out the magnitude and impact metrics. By restructuring the exact same job through the lens of an algorithm, you have artificially forced the assessor to move your profile from a level 13 to a level 18. You just mathematically justified a 40 to 60% increase in your baseline salary band. You did not beg for the money, you provided the rigid logic that makes denying you the money a systemic violation of their own HR protocol. Phase 4, the financial leverage, exploiting the 15% rule. To weaponize this framework during a live salary negotiation, you must understand the step difference logic of the Korn Ferry system. The Hay guide chart is built on a mathematical principle of just noticeable difference, the Weber's law. In the corporate compensation, a role must be approximately 15% larger in its point score to justify moving up the next salary distinct grade. When you sit at a negotiation table and they offer you a AED 40,000 dirhams a month and you want AED 50,000 dirhams, You do not argue about inflation. You do not talk about the cost of housing in Dubai. The system does not care about your personal expenses. You execute the financial leverage pivot. You attack the point allocation. You look the hiring manager in the eye and you say, I understand this compensation is tied to the current band structure of this role. However, the job description outlines a standardized problem-solving environment with a shared accountability for a tech role. My mandate and the verified track record I bring operates differently. I will be deploying proprietary logic to assume primary accountability over this specific $10 million integration, operating with absolute freedom to act, to bypass your legacy bottlenecks. Because I am fundamentally expanding the impact and thinking challenge of the role by over 15%, we need to reevaluate the grade classification of this specific contract before I sign. You're speaking the secret, highly classified language of a corporate HR architect. When a recruiter or a vice president hears you systematically deconstruct the role using the exact terminology of a Hay Group methodology, freedom to act, primary risk accountability, pathfinding, they experience a psychological shockwave. You immediately transcend the category of candidate. You establish yourself as a sovereign equal who fully understands the mechanics of the matrix. You force the HR department to go back to their compensation analyst and officially rescore the job description to match the heavy, undeniable profile you just presented. Phase 5, the sovereign execution, broadcasting the proof. The final phase of a reverse engineering the Korn Ferry algorithm is solidifying your know-how and the human relations, pillars to profoundly that the score cannot be challenged. You must deploy the sovereign execution. In the Hayes method, the highest level of human relation is the ability to motivate, persuade, and change the behavior of a highly resistant individual. You cannot prove this by simply writing excellent communication skills on a piece of paper. You must physically demonstrate your dominance. You must abstract your corporate victories into a high-fidelity proof-of-work artifact. You do not rely on text. You utilize your physical and digital environment to broadcast your authority. You set up a dedicated, acoustic-treated digital broadcasting studio. You deploy an elite cine gear as your Sony FX series camera with a razor-sharp lighting. You import your raw, heavy data presentations and you color grade themselves flawlessly utilizing the advanced nose-bait architecture of DaVinci Resolve 20. You record a highly structured and sentimental video essay, deconstructing exactly how you deploy Lean Six Sigma to save a corporation millions. You distribute this artifact directly to an executive search firm and Korn Ferry headhunters. When the assessor watches that broadcast, the algorithm is instantly satisfied. The high-fidelity production, the precise cadence of your speech, and the unshakable confidence of your delivery act as an undeniable visual proof of your apex human relation skills and your extreme technical know-how. You have bypassed the subjective filter. The headhunter does not need to guess if you possess executive presence. They are experiencing it in 10-bit 4K resolution. Look closely at your current resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your negotiation strategy. Are you operating like a passive employee, hoping the corporation decides to be generous with their compensation band? Or are you operating like a forensic architect, exploiting the systematic rigid logic to extract a massive financial leverage? The game is not rigged against you. You have simply haven't learned the rule. Stop leaving the six-figure salary on the table. Decode the 3 pillars, rewrite your profile to maximize your freedom to act, establish your pathfinding capability, and deploy high-fidelity proof of work of your execution. Reverse engineer the algorithm and force the system to pay you the absolute premium you deserve. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.